So as we've been seeing more and more recently, Japan has been concerned of the West and how they could come in and take away their freedom of expression when it comes to their entertainment, like manga and anime. And in another recent interview, Ken Akamatsu, the creator of Love Hina, has come out stating more and more concerns on this issue, which it's good to see he keeps warning people and fighting the good fight. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, we have seen multiple times over in the past where, the West has tried to push their political standards onto Japan. They've been trying to colonize Japan, change their culture. We've seen this multiple times, especially with Funimation. Funimation is one of the biggest culprits where they tried to change anime dubs and try to put their agendas within them, which is absolutely frustrating, and people do not like this. Something that turns a lot of people off to their dubs because of what they do, how they treat the fans and attack them. It's been something that has been very concerning, seeing that, now they, as of last year, were talking about how they have been on anime production committees, which means that they could try to influence the Japanese market to make things more friendly for overseas audiences, which, of course, that it wouldn't be better. It'd make it worse. So, I always go back to this statement because this is what they stated. Instead of simply licensing the rights to a finished show, as companies usually do, Funimation is now able to take part ownership of some titles directly when bringing them to the rest of the world. There's no fear about losing the rights to these shows. Either they are here to stay in the Funimation library in perpetuity. Conversely, Funimation is trusted by the rest of the committee to use their international expertise to better market the show to foreign viewers and provide more detailed input to the other Japanese companies regarding what fans abroad would like to see. It's a win-win, which obviously is not a win-win because they're trying to change what makes anime in the first place, which, of course, is really frustrating. And, of course, Japan has been very concerned of this because what this would mean is that Funimation would be trying to push their colonial values onto Japan, onto their culture, and the Love Hina author, Ken Akamatsu, has come out talking about how, they need to try to do something to protect the freedom of expression so that they don't push their political correctness into Japan. This is something that he's been very afraid of, as well as Japan itself, because they've been afraid of this. So recently there was another interview, and the article by Bounding Into Comics has the big key components to it, because it was a pretty long interview. Love Hina Mangaka warns of rising pressure from foreign markets to introduce political correctness into manga. And so what's very important about this is that we've been seeing more and more that, these clowns have been trying to get their foot in the door. And here's the thing. If they were to, then anime and manga would not be anime and manga like we know it is. It would take away what makes it special, because then they'd just be trying to push their political agenda, censoring things, and just making it worse, right? And nobody wants that. Everybody loves anime and manga the way it is, but of course, leave it to companies like Funimation and Sony to try to ruin it. Mangaka Ken Akamatsu, perhaps best known as the mangaka behind the extremely popular Love Hina series, recently shared his concerns regarding the rising pressure from Western markets to introduce political correctness into manga, which will ruin it if that ever happens, and the possible negative effects such a push could have for the creators and fans across the medium. I can tell you, it would be a negative one. He's definitely right about that. A vocal and outspoken anti-censorship critic in his own right, Akamatsu broached the subject of political correctness during the opening panel of the recent Manga Artist Mirari Conference, an online event held last December, wherein various manga creators were invited to discuss their thoughts on the current state of the industry and their outlooks on the future. According to a machine translation of Logby's transcript of the panel, when asked for his thoughts on manga and the overseas market, Akamatsu laughed and responded, "In short, it's politically correct." Yeah, he's right. That's exactly what it is. That's why Western entertainment is going down the drain. Political correctness, external pressure is coming, such as the pressure to introduce political correctness into manga and movies, the mangaka added. That's dangerous, isn't it? Akamatsu then explained, so far when Japanese manga is at the stage of looking at the world, there is a pressure on the scene to meet more global standards. Yeah, it's like Funimation wanting them to meet the clown standards. Like they want to basically just take away the freedom of the creator so that the creator can't make it however they want. Rather, they gotta fit this checkbox and that checkbox. It's like what you see Hollywood do or any of these, woke companies do. They put it by checkboxes. It's not about good storytelling, good characters, good action. No, it's about what agendas they can push. That's actually what it's about. And it's, just destroying entertainment. I'd like to have the manga artists unify their opinions to some extent as to whether such things are correct or not, he continued. However, when the sales of works that have to become globalized and have no sharp edges are good, they end up saying, oh, political correctness might be good. The veteran mangaka's statements were chosen by co-panelist Takayuma Kobayashi, the representative director of publishing house Number 9 Company Limited, who similarly op-ed, regardless of the company, I think that freedom of expression should be respected in my personal opinion, which I agree to that, because if you don't get freedom of expression, then you can't tell the story how you want to tell it. You then have to live by a certain standard that they set for you, and if you don't live by that, then you get canceled. You can't make series like Goblin Slayer or Redo of Healer, basically, which they are allowed to exist regardless of what you think of them. They are allowed to exist. Akamatsu later remarked, if you don't go abroad, the political correctness problem isn't a battle at all, which prompted Kobayashi to share his personal idea that I don't think a series will sell that much when it comes to selling itself as politically correct, which he's right about that, because here's the thing. When things try to be politically correct, they always fail. I mean, look at what happened with DC and Marvel, the comic book industry. It's been collapsing because they've tried to do all this political correctness and all their agendas, and it fails every time. The point is, manga was released without being conscious of political correctness, cannot be read due to the political correctness problem, said Kobayashi. I think this is a mess. Like a fire. He's absolutely right. I gotta agree with Kobayashi here because when you make this woke entertainment, right, you're making nothing but shit, and nobody enjoys it. And if you were to take away from anime what makes anime, well, then nobody's going to like that either, because, people like anime for what it is. You try to put this woke crap into it, nobody's going to like it. It's going to be the same thing like the comic book industry or, Western entertainment as a whole. Recalling how he had heard that the excitement of Hollywood movies is generally decided by script directors and scenario doctors, Akamatsu joked, from now on, I'd like to release various blacks and whites with political correctness in mind, making fun of it. In turning to debate of mass appeal versus artistic authenticity, Akamatsu observed, the one that hits may go to Hollywood, but it is better to have freedom of expression. Exactly. Manga is mainly about freedom of expression, and it feels like you don't give in to political correctness, noted Akamatsu, before questioning, is it a loss if the politically correct words get overwhelming power? I wonder if that means. Now, this sounds like, to me, like what could happen if this takes over, because this looks kind of strange on how this is worded. Now, this could be something lost in translation, but they go on to say, however, Kobayashi reassured Akamatsu, even if there is entertainment that goes against political correctness, it would be different if this current idea of political correctness remains the same 10 years, 20 years later, 30 years later, and so on. It wasn't even 5 years ago, I was told recently, Kobayashi said, the possibility that this will become the standard for the future is not zero. But it may change again. He concluded, that's why I think it's important not to win or lose in the short term, but to always create something that you can be proud of as entertainment. Now, what I will say is I agree to that part, where, you should be able to create whatever you want and be proud to look at that and say, hey, I made that. You should be able to be proud of what you created. And you should be able to freely express yourself. I do agree with that. Now, whenever it comes to the whole political correctness could change in 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, now here's what I'll say. I do think it's going to change. I do think that the political correctness will probably cease eventually. It's going to take time, though. It's not going to be an overnight thing. I think that it will. And my reason for that is it fails every time. It always fails with entertainment. Now, could this happen to Japan? Only if they let it. See, that's the problem, is if they let it happen, then yes, it will. But seeing that there are people making pushes to actually make laws, like trying to make laws to protect their freedom of expression, there's a possibility that it might not happen. And if it doesn't happen, if they don't allow it to happen, then that'll be good, because then it's able to preserve anime and manga, and they can't do anything about it, like the West can't. So that would be good, because you have Funimation who's trying to snake their way in and doing so, which is a terrible thing. But if these laws are created, then this means that they can't interfere. They can't change it to fit their standards, and that mangaka and any other creators of anime and manga over there, they can make it however they want. And it's good to see that they're trying to fight against, these clowns and make sure that they don't come and take over. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and make sure you were still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord and Minds. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the news videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on both Discord and Minds. The links are in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.